what you see is the interest in these sectors, and how do you see them contributing to the big picture of food and agriculture over the next decade? So in other words, is it going to be just kind of a niche thing as they always treated this, or is it going to have a ripple effect into all sorts of the commodities, and et cetera, et cetera? Anyway.
Okay, yeah. So I needed to unmute myself. So thanks for that. Thanks for that sort of an introductory overview, Tom, and then the question itself. And it's spot on that you've been thinking about this, and then also my kudos to Ian as well, and Wythe Marshall as well, or Marshall Wythe, I guess, about the work that you guys have been doing, and I think what you're trying to put together as a sort of a compendium of knowledge that would be useful, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to convene these things, and that's critically important. And really a tip of my hat to you for bringing this together and creating a path as well. So very specifically, you asked the question, is this whole thing about controlled environment agriculture going to be some sort of a little niche player with whatever wealthy folks coming in like SoftBank or whatever, and putting a little bit of money, or Sergey Brin, the founder of Google, putting in a little money, or Khosla Ventures, etc.? Or is it much more of a longer term? And I think, really, from my perspective, again, as you noted, from my background, having been in the world of food and agriculture and in education as well, I think this is not just a little niche player. It's going to continue to grow very significantly. And I think, again, to your point, the COVID-19 situation has shown how fragile our food systems are, incredibly fragile. And we thought we had, even like 2 or 3 years ago, we thought we've got this whole thing figured out about hunger and poverty. And, we'd gone from 1.2 billion people that, were going to bed hungry every night. It had dropped down to about 700 million and, headed in the right direction. And food was becoming available and things like that. And suddenly, because of, multiple different things that are going on even as prior to the COVID-19 situation, right? We started seeing this incredible level of protectionism, and multiple governments started saying, we're going to be protective of our particular, communities and our nation and things like that. That had already started that process, and also withdrawal from international and global enterprises and things like that. I mean, not to get into the politics of it, but we saw that already back starting in 2017, 2018, and all that to 2019 as well. Right. And then boom, the COVID-19 situation hits, and it just all hell breaks loose, as they say. And if you look at just look at the images on television, across the globe in the Western world, right, in these wealthy countries. And people are lining up. I mean, we've seen, Ian and I have seen here in the States, these miles and miles of people, like in Dallas, Texas, and other places. And people will say, this is the last thing I expected myself to be doing, right? So that's the context that we've got. And so, here's an opportunity, I think, for the controlled environmental agricultural people to demonstrate the value that is brought, okay? Number one, and we think, it's all about nutritional security and things like that. But really, it is also about jobs and economic enterprises. And these jobs are local, and that can be created. That is now a contributing, member. And the really nice thing is it also affords, opportunities for people that are not only going unemployed right now, but in general in the economy itself could be a significant part of it, and if it's done right. The third thing that I want to share as well is here in the States particularly, we have about 5 million veterans, young people, and they're like Ian, you choose him as my, in quotes, model, the epitome. Young people, they got sent to war in Afghanistan and Iraq, and came back and continue to come back, and they have physical disabilities and mental, disabilities and things like that as well. And we know from a body of literature that particularly when it comes to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and things like that. The involvement in the agricultural enterprise in and of itself is a great therapeutic approach. And so imagine, and unemployment amongst veterans, even before the COVID-19 situation, was very high. And so here's the opportunity to strike on multiple different fronts. And I think the kind of work that y'all are doing, that you're proponents of, and so on, is really a wonderful path forward.